So you have the nature of miracles, and of course the idea is that there's nature and there's miracles. And then in the Talmud, it talks about the war, which is that Hashem we fought a war, and it was long drawn out, and there were losses also. But there were miracles that allowed us to overcome a huge Syrian Greek army. The whole translation of Greek is, it has to be added in terms, historically speaking, that when Alexander died, his kingdom was split up between his two generals, and this whole thing. That's why I call them Syrian Greeks. But the war that's described in the Gemara and the Talmud is the main thing. It does not mention the miracle of the oil. And what we say in our davening, in the Shemona Esrei, and also in Birkat HaMazon, is completely only focused on the miracle of the oil. The menorah, the oil, and excuse me, wait a second. It's the opposite. The Talmud talks about the oil, and the Siddur mentions the war, and doesn't even mention in any clear way the miracle of the oil. Whatever the case, I say on page 5, third paragraph from the top, on a deeper level, the two versions involve a tension between the aspect of divine providence that we perceive as miraculous and the aspect that we perceive as natural. At first sight, it would seem that Jews believe in miracles and Greeks believe in nature. This is certainly partially true. By putting the Talmud and the Siddur together, however, see that Judaism represents an entirely different way of looking at both miracles and nature. Miracles lift us up. It's based on the word nes, which means a banner, is also a miracle. Above the laws of nature. Miracles are extraordinary and they're supernatural. And Hashem lifts us up when He does miracles for us. And one of my dearest, sweetest, beautiful rabbis, Rabbi Bowman, said to us once that it's like a tow truck coming to start a car whose battery is dead. And the guy brings the cables from the tow truck, connects them to the battery, is revving up his motor. He says, "Start your motor." It starts. He says, "I'm going to take the cables off, but in order for you to be able to drive this car, you have to drive 50 miles, and not stop and start traffic, because you need to internalize the charge that I'm giving you now to recreate the energy of your battery. You internalize the charge from the outside and you make it yours." So the cables are called the level of 8, which is the level of miracles which God does to us and for us in order to make us aware of His presence, as if we're like children need miracles. Miracles are for kids. So in the Bible, we are the children of Israel. We need miracles. We need to know that God is with us. And we're constantly, after every miracle, 4 hours later, where are you? You left us alone. So kids need to have another miracle. And then He says, "Okay, here's the cables again, but this time drive on yourself." And then we freak out again, and He comes back, and He's giving us a way of knowing that He's with us. He's I don't have the right words, but He's assuring us that I really am with you, even when it's not obvious. And eventually, I'm going to take the cables away completely, and that's with Esther. Esther is no longer going to be overt miracles. It's all going to be subtle miracles. They're going to be so subtle that if you're not sensitive, you will not see. You must sensitize yourself to the level of miracle, and then you'll be connected and you'll see all of life as miracle. It's a famous quote from Albert Einstein, right? You either live life one way or the other. Okay, now, so sacred numbers 7 and 8. Let's see if we can do this together. To make it easy, I'll just read it. Let's see if it goes that way, otherwise I'll do it orally. The relationship between miracle and nature can be represented numerically. As the Torah informs us, Hashem created the world in 6 days and ceased working on the 7th day. Right? 6 days, really 6 divine days. Not 6 days in any simple way. We don't have to be locked into that. It's 6, but it's the symbolism of 6. And stopped and ceased working on the 7th day, the Shabbat. The number 6 can thus be said to represent the natural world that was created in 6 days, which is time, with its 6 spatial directions, east, west, north, south, and up and down. This is all familiar, I hope. The number 7 is Hashem's immanence, the hidden presence of the divine at the heart and core of the world. In other words, 7 is the soul of the 6. It dwells within the 6, but in such a way that it does not upset the laws of the 6, like a cube is 6-sided. And 7 is the meeting point between all the diagonals in the cube. It's there. It's a conceptual point. If you don't break open the cube, there's no 7. There's nothing there. It's only that you know that that there's something there because you have an awareness factor. Dot. So 7 is a neshamadik concept. You know, we said neshama is 8, is the same letters as 8. So we're going to see that it's the indwelling of the 8 within the 6, and it's called 7. But it's really the level of 8, but in such a way that the 8, when it's manifest totally on its own, the 8 breaks nature. It overturns nature. It supersedes the laws of nature. Nature cannot hold itself. It becomes malleable. It becomes completely melts. Harim kedonag namasu minifnei Adonai. Mountains melt before the full manifestation of 8. And again, 8, 9, 10, or whatever, the idea of infiniteness, of infinity. But 7 is like a mommy, for instance, is a 8 system, a system of 8. Relative to her baby. And the connection between mommy and baby is the umbilical cord. So the baby cannot eat when mommy eats. It would be hurtful, harmful. It needs the umbilical cord to measure and tailor and literally transform the nutrition in the food that mommy eats, so that the baby can get it in a way that's beneficial for the baby. It transforms from a world of 8, which the baby cannot live in, into a world of 7 within the 6. That's how I see it. It's like, if she eats garlic, it may be something else. I'm not sure how that works with kids. With mother's milk it works, apparently. Anyway, so this system of numerology is, the Maharal was like, you'd mention the number 8 and the Maharal would go, woo! You know, I love 8! And he writes about it in like 40 different places, and one of them is that the 8th verse of Psalm 19 is the 7 verses that precede are all about nature, and then the 8th verse is about the Torah. And then he says in Psalm 119, it's like 8 verses for every letter of the Torah. Every letter of the Psalm, 8 verses, and they're all about the Torah. And so he sees it. He writes about Brit Milah, 8. He gets Az Yasher Moshe, that the miracle of the crossing of the Red Sea, of the splitting of the Red Sea, starts with the word Az. And he says from the Midrash in Yalkut Shimoni, he says Az is Aleph over Zayin, is 1 over 7, which is the level of 8, which is the manifestation of the ultimate 1. We call it 8, we call it 1, and we begin to see that it's the same thing that manifests and rides upon the 7 of nature. So it's a fluidic system, but you begin to understand how it just becomes something you can connect to. So relative to the, did I finish this? So the last sentence of the second to last paragraph. In other words, 7 is the very soul of the 6. The power of 7 permeates the 6, instilling it with holiness in order to elevate it to its highest perfection. But with an intimate, the intimate relationship between 7 and 6 is the 7 says to the 6, I'm inside of you. I love you. I want to lift you up. I want you to become, I want your eating, your sexuality, your personality to become elevated. I'll work with you. I'll work with you on the inside. Don't be afraid of me. 8 would completely take us out of our kalim and we don't know what to do. We lose it. We lose our being. We lose our sense of individuality. But 7 allows us to maintain individuality, right? And of course we know Shabbos within the weekdays. So it's a nice system. Then we go and we finish, we say, relative to the number 7, which represents Hashem's immanence, the number 8 represents His utter transcendence above and beyond this world. 7 is a measured constriction of the light of 8. 7, which is immanent or indwelling spirituality, is really the power of 8, which is transcendent miracle, tailor-fit to manifest within the world of 6, without upsetting its seemingly natural laws. All of that one sentence is saying it all for me. The power of 7, its ability to manifest spirituality within the confines of the physical, derives from the fact that it is never disconnected from its transcendent source. 7, which is within the world, is always connected to the 8, which is above the world. And its lifeline, it is a lifeline, a kav, a conduit of consciousness, from that which is above to that which is infinite, that which is expansive, to that which is even within the constriction of this world. So the words that I'm trying to say, using numbers, is to relate to the psychological level of who we are. Is the ability to use Torah to awaken these things within ourselves, to be able to come out of darkness into the light, because the words, the concepts, the feelings that are behind them, the reality of the concepts breaks through and makes me realize that it really is true. It's not we're not playing. So mankind needs a way to come out of the darkness into the light, so we can really do see, and that the Messianic light is here, and that it's really dawning inside of us. And that's where it has to dawn. It has to dawn inside of each one of us, and then and only then it will dawn outside of us. Because Yechaseh Aretz, the land and the world, is covered with darkness. And it's sad. And we have the ability to make the difference. I mean, ultimately, we have the ability, we, the children of Israel, and that includes many non-Jews also, because Israel is not only limited to Jewish people, but we are the main carriers. But like when we're not doing our job. So, and believe me, I believe that we are. I look at our soldiers. I look at the goodness of our kids. They don't want mediocrity. They don't want falsehoods. They don't want half-truths. They want real truth. They want a powerful truth, and they deserve a powerful truth because they're powerful neshamas. So the spiritual story of what's going on here is really much more than I even understand. But I know that something very awesome is going on the planet right now, and that we're part of it. And our awakening to that reality, and being able to be within ourselves. Let's be there right now in that light, and be surrounded and embraced by Hashem's light, because we need it so much. And being filled with Hashem's light on the inside. The 8 surrounds us. The 7 becomes internalized, right? That when you do something 7 times, which is what the Torah is all about, you internalize and you make it yours. It's Rabbi Nachman's Torah in Torah 21. When you do something 7 times, you make it yours. That's why it's always involved with internalization and immanence. Whereas 8 is that which we can reach for, but it's always above us. So are we the people of 8 or the people of 7? We love 8.